Hello, sixth grade, and welcome to your very last week of school. This week, we're going to briefly cover our last unit, Globalization. It's really a combination of what we've learned so far this school year. A review unit. In Unit 1, we learned what the Earth looks like and how to read maps. In Unit 2, we added people to that Earth and learned how people use the resources of Earth to live. In Unit 3, we learned that because people use different resources, they end up with different cultures. In Unit 4, we saw that because people have different cultures, they build different styles of government. In Unit 5, when we left each other back in March, we learned about how different governments create different styles of economics to organize their money. In Unit 6, we saw how people have different cultures, government, and economics, so they also have different belief systems. In Unit 7, we saw how those different beliefs could cause people to fight. And now, in Unit 8, we can finally talk about globalization. That is how today's global society spreads and impacts one another because of increased communication and transportation. I can find out what's happening across the globe with just a couple of clicks. And I can get there pretty quickly too, probably within a day, depending on what transportation I choose and how much money I'm willing to spend. So right now, if there was an earthquake in Taiwan 100 years ago, it could have taken days or even weeks for me to hear about it, if I ever heard about it at all. Today, if there's an earthquake in Taiwan, I will get an immediate update on my phone. Now, that's because I'm old and boring and have a lot of news apps, but still, the point is, I could know. And then the US could send people to help pretty quickly too. What that has done is made us hyper aware of what's going on in the world around us, and it can cause both positive and negative things. A positive is cultural globalization. For example, a book like Harry Potter that was originally written in English has been translated in over 80 languages to make sure that people can read it all over the world. A negative could be some environmental globalization. Obviously, the pandemic is a negative example of how germs can spread quickly around the world due to an over increase in travel. But what about other examples? Things like invasive species. There are plants and animals introduced into environments that they shouldn't be in. And because of that, they have no natural predators and cause quite a nuisance. For example, our lovely friend, the stink bug. We talked about a positive last week with the United Nations that brings countries together. But technology also increases our ability to make weapons and spread computer viruses. And if we look at this economically, then you know that the United States trades with countries all over the world, which is great. People sharing resources is a positive, but it can also have negative consequences. If, for example, one country goes through an economic recession, then so do all of the countries trading with that one country. An example of that is the 1973 oil crisis, when some key oil-producing nations decided to no longer trade with the United States, Canada, Japan, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdoms. We in the US had to line up in our cars down the block just to get gas, and the prices went up 400%. This is why now more than ever we have to talk about all of the problems in the world. Some of them are environmental, like overpopulation and deforestation causing endangered species. Others are political. Either way, it's crucial to see ourselves as not just citizens of the United States, but also as world citizens, and acknowledge that even though you might be one little person, you're part of a huge jigsaw puzzle. Now, let's take a look at my computer to see what you'll be doing this week.
All right, here's your folder for this week. This week we only have 3 things. First is the introduction video you're watching right now. Then you have your document with your assignments, and then you have your assignment turn-in. I'm going to click on the document so you can look at it. This will be due next Tuesday. If you turn it in early, then you are done early. First thing you have is some vocab. Remember, you can draw pictures or find clip art. This is a little review of each of our units and what they were about. Then we're going to start with negative globalization. I'd rather get the nasty stuff out of the way first. I created a little crossword search for you. Here's your word bank. You can either write them in here, or you can just write, number 1 down on a piece of paper and take a picture of it. And then finally, we're going to end the year with some positive global citizenship, the way that we can impact Earth in a good way. You're just going to write me a miniature paragraph with these 9 words in it. Underline the words if you can while you're going so I can see where you use them. All right, send me an email if you have any questions.
I hope you have a wonderful summer. I miss you so much. I hope that at the beginning of next school year, I get to see your bright, shining faces, even if it's just your eyes over top of a face mask. And as always, have a fantabulous day.